All right, now let me pull it up before I share my screen. In the meantime, I will say most of what, off the top of my head, I think you've been doing good, but maybe just a little bit more. Like, for example, I think, one of them said one of the discussions you were supposed to, you know, uh, say why biodiversity is important. And a lot of people lost points for that. A lot of people lost a lot of points for that because they didn't even mention why it's important. But generally, if somebody at least mentioned it and really didn't, they would get a point, at least if they mentioned it. But you're supposed to like sell your senator on it, right? So if people mentioned it, they got more points than people who didn't mention it at all.
Right.
The people who really went into it and talked about why biodiversity is so important, those people got more points. But anyway, that's just off the top of my head. Let me actually look at the
So,
module.
do you want it actually defined by our textbook as well, or however? I mean, does that need to be in there off the rip? The definition of it, or not necessarily?
Yes. Hold on, and let me pull this up. That's a great question. Let me share my screen with you. Let's see. My coffee hasn't kicked in yet. I've been awake for hours, but I've just now got my coffee. All right, so come on. There we go. All right. So you should see my screen now. Yeah, so particularly with the Module 4 discussion, if I remember correctly, and I'm just double checking here, then yes, you were supposed to at least define it. Yeah. Demonstrate you understand the concept of biodiversity by at least defining it. And yeah, so that was a great question you had. Does it need to be from your textbook? You know what? As far as points are concerned, doesn't matter if it's from your textbook or if it's from a different source. Obviously, if it's from a different source, you need to list it.
Right.
Because if you just say biodiversity is this and it doesn't jive with what the book says, then you would lose points. And yeah, that's usually the case. Usually with these discussions in journal, usually you'll have to define something because, the real purpose of these things.
Can you give me 1 second?
Yeah, of course.
I'm sorry.
No, it's no problem.
Are you there?
Yes.
I'm still here. Sorry about that. I'm at my parents' store, so I'm coming back and forth here a little bit.
I understand. So yeah, also, since while you had me on hold, I went and looked, and you actually got full credit for your initial post.
Right.
So it was good. You discussed why biodiversity is important, and also you discussed, even though this wasn't really listed or required, you kind of talked about why it's at peril. So instead of just saying, the biodiversity is in danger, you actually got specific and said, a report recently released highlights that global wildlife populations have fallen by 58% since 1970, and if the trend continues, this decline could reach 2/3 among vertebrate. You wrote it, so I don't need to reread it all to you. But yeah, that was great. So yeah, you earned full credit for that. And if you want, let me look up your response. And let's see, Monday. And, you also did yours on Monday, and that really helps. Generally speaking, the earlier you get it done, I'm a little bit easier with the grading because
I usually try to do Monday or Tuesday most of the time.
And that does help because the way I see it, if you're getting it done at the very end, like right before it's due, and then in my mind, you've been thinking about it all week, right? You've had time to really formulate your ideas and have time to do some research. And if you're doing it right away, like you did, did Monday, then I'm going to be a little bit easier because you got it done right away. You didn't have as much time to think about it. And didn't
And where
have
I'm off work on Mondays, I always do my reading assignments for the chapters. So, it's kind of fresh in my mind too. So that's, another reason why it's just a little easier to kind of go at it.
All right, let's see. So I'm trying to find your response right now. Wednesday, January 19th. Oh, did you do a response last week?
Yeah.
Let's see.
I did it on Sunday.
Interesting.
About 8 o'clock, maybe?
15. That's interesting. Let me look at it another way. Sorry, I'm having you just sit here and wait while I'm looking at things.
That's all right. Can you give me 1 second, too?
Yeah, it works out. Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that.
No problem. All right. Yeah. So, I'm glad you asked me about this. I was rereading your post, and I think, well, definitely two of the points you lost were for not using, and I'm talking about your response here.
Yeah.
Two of the points were for not including a source.
Okay.
And then, I wish I could take better notes and, for each one that I grade and go back and see why did I deduct points. And I didn't. I don't. That's just not feasible. So I'm assuming that based on the way I read this, even just now, the first time, you were supposed to agree with what they're saying and then disagree, right? Come up with something that you disagree with. And you did do that. And when I first read it, I don't think it was very clear. So I think I deducted 1 point for for not disagreeing. But now that I've read it again, I can see where you did disagree. So I've added a point. So now you have the 8 out of 10 instead of 7 out of 10.
Okay.
So this is why I love people, questioning me and getting feedback, because it could be that maybe I just missed it. I have to grade a lot of stuff and I have to grade it very quickly. And sometimes things aren't very clear. And in which case, in this case, I don't think it was very clear. But after reading it again, I do see where you did what you were supposed to do. So you got that point back.
Okay.
So
I just need to kind of take time to be a little more finer on the details, I would assume.
Yeah.
Certain, what's asked.
Yeah. And a good thing to mention, while I have you on, and hopefully anybody watching this video, and I think I mentioned this before, I am picky with the grading, but it's always like nitpicky. It's nitpicky, but it's also a small amount of points. So people usually do pretty good despite never getting a perfect grade. And also because of that, because I'm so nitpicky, I offer all these extra credit opportunities because I still want, if you want to have a perfect grade, I still want you to be able to by, doing the extra credit. That's why. Sorry, go ahead.
I always think constructive criticism is not a bad thing.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah.
This is why I love what we're doing now, because in my opinion, we don't get enough of that in education. Usually it's just like, here's your grade and that's it. But it's such a good learning opportunity to go back and look at where you messed up or what you could have done better, something like that. So that's good. And did you have any It seems like you understand the concept of biodiversity, right? I mean, you know.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I won't say much about that.
Like I said, you know this, Professor. Of course, I'm not a science major, but I'm trying my best. You know, I am paying for school. I want to learn the basics. So topics that are brought up every week, I try to learn that at least. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard when they throw so much material at you, let alone this class and other classes. But I'm trying to do my best. You know
it is tough doing, what is it, 2 chapters a week, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's but that's just the nature of an 8-week course.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's it. I guess as a reminder, I know this sounds weird, but I like to have a paper trail. So when we're done, if you could email me and say, hey, thanks for meeting with me, whatever, can you please apply the extra credit? That way I can have it in writing and then save the email and I can remember that I did it and all that. So yeah, I'll give you a 10% boost on the module for discussion since you came and got some feedback on it.
Okay.
All right. Well, is there anything else?
Yeah. Can you take me off recording for a second?
Yep.